Welcome back, everybody, to the Code Peterson YouTube channel. We have another GB Studio tutorial as I'm slowly but surely getting through and making some headway on requests for tutorials. So keep those ideas coming. This one is going to be a bit of a challenge, I think. It was asking me if there's a way where we could make a map puzzle like in the original Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda. There's a place where if you take the wrong path, you just kind of repeat the same area over and over. Also, there was like Final Fantasy VI, there's that forest maze. So, asking, is there a way where we can do that in here, or can I show you how to do it? And it is definitely possible, knowing what I know about this GB Studio, and we're going to kind of troubleshoot this together here. So, to begin with, I do have three scenes here. I just made a simple level. And this is kind of going back to our Zelda style game that we made before. I haven't linked anything in here as of right now, but it's just real simple. And then I have my borders around here for solids, um, our character from going in certain areas. Okay, so if we're going to start here in scene one, I do need a way to go over here to scene two. We'll add a trigger, and I'll put it here in scene one. And then on enter, I'm going to change the scene. I'm going to change scene to scene 2. Bring this character over here, and I want it to be facing the left. Important. And I'm going to have the character just on the outside of the walkway so it doesn't accidentally go back into the walkway that it just came from. All right, and then same way there, I need to add another trigger. I'll place one right here. This one on enter will change scene. And want it facing the right. And we want it to be going back to scene one. Now we have a walkway here for our character to go from scene one into scene two. Now when I came over here, I turned into an arrow. Forget that from time to time. So I'll select scene two here. And what do I want from my player sprite sheet? I don't want that arrow. I want lower character. There we go. Over here. Perfect. All right. That's what I want so far. Okay, now this is the area where I would like it if this became kind of a maze. So if I leave the scene up here, I show up down here. If I leave down here, I show up here. And the character kind of is like, how many times am I going through this before they figure, oh, there's a certain sequence that I need to pass through to get through here. So what I want to do is I want to say like, I have to go through here first, and then I want to go through this opening, and then I want to go through here, and then that's how I get to scene 3. All right, so we'll start with this part here. Selecting this scene 1, when I go from scene 1 into scene 2, I'm going to say on enter, and I need to add another event. I want to set variable. I'm searching for variable set to value. I'll click this drop down, and I want it to be a global variable because it's going to follow me through multiple maps here. Then I'll click the pencil, and I will call this one maze value. And I want to set it equal to. All right, so whenever I go through scene 1, I am changing the variable. When I go into scene 2, I change the variable. Okay, now if I want to have to go through here to go to the next part of this puzzle, then I will obviously need to add another trigger. And on enter, I'm going to add an event. I will say if variable, and I'll compare with value. I'm going to say if variable, and I'll find my maze value. Click on this, and I want to compare, and I'll say if it's less than 1, I'm going to add event. I'm going to go set variable value, variable set to value. I'm going to set that value to, so if I go in here the first time, it's going to be equal to 1. And then down here where the else is, I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to add event. And then I'm going to go set variable to value. I will set it to, that way if I have a value higher than 1 or higher and I go through the wrong way, then it's going to reset it back to 0, and I'll have to restart. Okay, and then what I need to do is I need to click here where it says add an event after that. And I need to change scene. No, technically I'm not changing the scene. I could move my character up here, but I wanted to have that kind of fade in, fade out of a level as if I'm going to a place. But we're actually just going back to scene 2 here, and I want the direction to be facing down. All right, and I think good so far. So let's try that. Let's go in here. I'm going in here. Okay. Now if I go down here, then I show up here. Okay, now if I want the second part of this maze to actually go through here, so this would actually be kind of tricky because you have to same way that you think you just came from. Then I can add a trigger right here. And then on enter. So we'll go here, we'll say if variable compared to value, okay? So on here, I'm going to say if my maze value is equal to 1, then I'm going to go here and add an event, and I could set value, or I could even go variable increment by 1 and then select maze value. So you can do it that way too. That shows you if you do this. So if it's equal to 1, then we are going to increase that value to 2 by adding 1 to it. Else, I'm going to click that little drop down arrow. I'm going to go variable set to value, find my maze value. I'm going to set it equal to 0. And then since we would be going up through this way, we're going to add an event. We're going to change scene. It's going to be scene 2 again. Get down here, facing up. Okay, so here we have our entrance. Go through here, go down this way. Okay, this way, go up through this way. So you can see how this becomes kind of a maze. Somebody might go through this a number of times before they're wondering, like, am I actually just going through the same place, or is there just this many parts of the path that look the exact same? Okay, so far so good. All right, so we go through here, go down through this and that. If this is equal to 0, then go through that. And then it sets the value to 1. Then we go through here. And then if this is equal to 1 up here, then we increment it, which would be 2. So then we could go over to our third entrance. And we will add a trigger. Maybe. This one. Drag. There we go. This one, we're going to add an event. Compare variable with value. We'll say maze value. And we'll say if the maze value is equal to 2, then it is going to change scene 3 over here, facing the left, and then select scene. Here I switch it door act, and we'll go in there. And then what happens if it is not equal to 2? We'll go here to else, and then we're going to add an event. I'm going to change the scene 2. Face in the left, and then I'm going to click and drag this, and I need to place it over this one. It won't let me click and drag it there, but I can change my X and Y value. So if we go here and at 2, we're good. Out we go. We also need to add another event. Well, and say set variable to value, and we'll need to change that maze value to 0. Up here, did I do the same thing with that? Else value, else value to 0. Okay, good. Go through this way, it equals to 0. So that way, if you take one step wrong, you have to restart that progression through that path of going this one, back through this one, and then okay. Let's try this and see how this works. Through here, if I go this way, then back through here, go through A. Okay, so this is 0. Now, if I want to do it properly, I'll go through here. I'll go through here, then go through here, and that should have taken us into the third one. So let's see what's going on here. Let's look at this and troubleshoot. All right, so starting on this one, maze value is set to 0, and we go through here. Okay. We go through this, and if maze is less than 1, then we will set, oh, up here I have that equal local 0. So I need to select the right variable. I need that to maze value, and I need to change that to maze value. There we go. Okay, then if we go up here to this one, we have maze value properly on there. And on here, if maze value is equal to 2, else. Okay, so let's try it again. If this works, go through here. We'll just do it the correct way. There's 1, there's 2. Here we go. And now we are in our final area. This could be like, where you have your dungeon that you need to go through to beat. Okay, I think that is pretty good for that part. Now we need to have this scene, adding a trigger right here. And then on enter, we are going to set our variable, our maze value. We're going to set it equal to 0 again, so then you can back in. And then we need to change the scene back here to 2. It's going to be right here, and we'll be facing right. Okay, now one last thing that might not be a bad idea would be once we have this final trigger and we're going into the scene the correct way. So we could say like up here on enter, before we go to scene 3, we could add another event. We could play sound effect. It's up here. And so there are some different things that you can use with these, or you can upload your own or create your own in the game. I do have a tutorial on in my playlist there where I showed how you can make some music. So you can make a little chime or something. We'll just do that for right now. We'll just go tone. And if it was a chime sound or something, because I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think on Legend of Zelda they have kind of a chime that plays properly. Go up here. Then you would have that kind of audio acknowledgement. Or if you wanted to play that every time you went through the right order, that could give the players a hint also. So we'll go back through here. And then when we try to go back through there, it doesn't work. But then if we want to go back through the maze again, and then we're at the end. So that actually wasn't as tough as I thought that it would be, but it does take some kind of brain muscles to work your way through that. And obviously, you could make that as complex as you want through different paths, or even have it go through 2 different screens of mazes. Kind of switch that. But hopefully, that helps out. So let me know if that's kind of what you were looking for a solution on that. And if you have any other solutions or ways that you've incorporated this with yours, we'd love to hear them in the comments below. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we'll surely catch you on another video down the road.